So here we are, still in High Frontier. We've started the first factory already. Got a little bit of claims showing up elsewhere. Let's look at where people are and what they're doing. The ESA is trying to get the cash together still to raise their their stuff. They're taking income actions because they're getting $1 at a time to try to boost that up into orbit. PRC boosted what they need up into orbit. However, they don't have quite enough fuel. I think they sold a card, now they do, to reach their location. And they're going to decommission once they get set up their factory there. They just... they have to... one thing I ought to check is make sure that they have an S card so that they can produce something, and they do. Shimizu have their rocket built. This is all they need. They're just going to pick up their new special Robonaut, but they're low on fuel and can't actually launch it quite yet. So, not sure why they're that low. Alright. Over to NASA. NASA took the opportunity to explore a comet because, and there was some risk there, there's a 1 in 6 chance they just die trying to do that. Now, this would be better if they had the crew along, because it's a science site and would be worth 3 victory points. But they just couldn't avoid the opportunity of exploring something that unlikely to be seen. It just seemed like a good idea. Even though it's going to cost them probably a couple turns to refresh. They got to refresh their fuel, and then they got to eke their way back out. But that's the best that they could do. And the UN is almost ready. They got everything boosted, and they sold off cards. They should have enough to begin their exploration. Okay. ESA is still collecting up enough money to boost. They got a long ways to go, because then they got to start collecting money to actually launch the thing once it's boosted. PRC boosted though, launched, and they're almost there. They're also almost out of fuel, but that's no big deal. They got enough to make it. They're having to use the afterburner to cool. They got a whole big pile of stuff in there, and they're one coolant short. Shimizu, I think I may have screwed up last time, but anyway, I sold a card this time. They probably, I think they were supposed to have done it last turn, but I'm not positive, so I didn't want to backtrack on that. NASA refueled, and finally, the UN launched and is heading out deep out into the cold area, which kind of sucks because they rely on solar power for their thruster. That means their acceleration is low, but they still should be able to get out, and they're looking in this general area. A lot of wealth out here. They can make it. So we're going to see what they find out there. They're going with they have a full boat there, so they can build a factory right away if they find anything. Around again a little bit further on. Shimizu have gathered up and launched so that they can go to their factory and grab their new product. I don't remember what they did. They turned in some card for money. Probably need to build that thing before too long. Who else? NASA's on their way. They're slow and merry way. I guess the most exciting is the UN, which has continued out into the reaches. Oh, their speed has dropped yet again. Their thrust's down to 2, which is getting painfully slow. They may have trouble landing on the things they were counting on. Luckily they have the fuel to land on one of these down here, but they can't hit these bigger things. I thought, oh, you got a big engine, but they don't. Not out there. It'll get a little better once they hit into this zone again. So they hit a couple of the event markers and moved time. And one of them was over in the yellow area, budget cuts, the special event, which NASA had to drop a white card. Basically, everybody has to drop a white card. Nobody else had one except NASA and the PRC. The PRC had to give one up they kind of wanted to hold. I mean, no matter what, you kind of want to hold your cards, but they had some plans for this card, so they got kind of burned by that. Alright, a couple more turns have gone by. ESA is still trying to get something together. They want to get this refinery up there. They've got a plan that they think should work. I believe getting them either here or back here. I don't remember how I calculated it. But definitely getting them there with limited burns, because they're looking at a very, very heavy rocket, and they pay 2 fuel per burn. PRC had to boost some crap in order to get their hand size down to a size where they can start trying to make income off of card play. Shimizu have landed over here, hard to see that orange in the orange, and produced their excellent little robot. They have to refuel and then figure out somewhere to go. They can actually probably go just about anywhere with that thing, given that it's a dirt powered regolith refactor refueler, and it also has this really good ISRU. Not quite a 0, but there's a lot of places they can try to set up things. They also have a pile of cards to start selling while they're in flight. NASA, oh boy, poor NASA. They ran into another glitch and had to decommission their entire rocket. It's not that terrible a thing. It's just they would have rather that they decommissioned it back up here than spend several turns refueling this, that, and the other on the way back, only to find they have to boost the whole damn thing again. They got the cash for it. They probably should have just done that to begin with. And finally, the UN got its second claim. Remember, they lost their first one back to the PRC. They're not sure what to do with it, though. I believe this. Yeah, they have a refinery, so they may be able to build themselves a factory there. And that's a C-type location. Hopefully they'll be able to get their crew back. If they can't get their crew back, that's going to be kind of annoying. They'll have to send them as a freighter. Okay, and again, Shimizu refueled completely. They're ready to head out and start doing stuff with their new equipment. NASA boosted up the rocket they need. They got a pile of cash. They sold another object. They're in pretty good shape, I believe, to head out with exploration. And they've got a whole deck there, refinery and everything. And finally, over to the UN, they built their factory and chose as their card, actually, a radiator. Weird choice, weak choice generally, but it gives them the ability to get back, which is kind of big. Maybe the best thing they can do. Otherwise, they'd be sending their crew back in a freighter stack. I don't know which is better. I didn't look up to see if they could go exploring once they sent their crew back in a freighter. This feels better. So not a lot happened. We see the ESA and the PRC pretty much in the same state where they're trying to collect up their rockets. But the Shenzhou managed to make it over here to a science site. Found a nothing there, but they'll be able to refuel because they got the regolith. But more importantly, they got a little thing that they can put. They're the first person to be on a science site. If they manage to return with that to Earth orbit, they get some victory points for that. However, the reason I did this vid, or this particular stop, is NASA, through the radiation zone, lost their radiator again, and they're kind of screwed. They have no ability to move whatsoever under their current circumstances. They need this generator because, let's see, what do they need? They have the regolith thruster. It needs the generator. The generator has a radiator. The thruster does not have a booster. They don't have 6 fuel to get back, so they are going to have to freighter it back and decommission their stack. Okay, and this one's going to wrap this segment up. It's largely same place, ESA, PRC, refueled with the Shenzhou, but NASA, well, their crew died in re-entry going back through the radiation zone. What a shame. Now they're selling cards off that they didn't really have as part of their rocket because they have way too many cards and not enough to boost enough to even get them into the income producing section. So they absolutely have to get rid of cards. And then finally the UN is it boosted its fuel as high as it could, which is all the way because it's at a factory, but it's got a problem because it wouldn't be able to lift off of the little planetoid that it's on. It's a size 2 planet. Its thrust, because of the solar reactor, wouldn't be high enough to get it off the planet without spending fuel. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, they're going to have to spend anyway. So they'll just pump it up. Yeah, I was looking at trying to get off free, but no, with a 2 they can't do that. They need to actually exceed the number. So they're going to have to boost with a 2 fuel when they leave. Alright, I'm going to wrap this one. No clever name for this one.